Joe, do you have specific benchmarks that you'll know you have an improved defense that you're seeing what you want to see out here?
We always set our goals on, top 5 in the NFL. We feel like we're top 5. We're going to give ourselves a chance. Obviously, we want to be the best, but we'll be able to measure that every week based on the stats of each game.
What stats are important besides points allowed?
Well, that's the one. Points allowed, because I think that's the most important stat. Because obviously, if the team isn't scoring, right, you're giving yourself a chance to win. But we always talk about points allowed. We talk about turnovers or taking the ball away, and then all your situations. Getting off the field, third downs, having success in the red zone. But anything that has to do with getting the ball back for us or getting off the field.
Do you go into this DVOA? Is that a factor at all?
I know we get all that information every week, but I just trust my eyes and what I see on tape and go from there.
Joe, we had a chance to talk to John Johnson the other day. We can hear him talking when he's out there. He says he doesn't even wear his mouthpiece half the time because he's talking so much.
Yeah.
I mean, what has he brought to that back end?
John is a great leader, and I think we brought in guys that are very professional, that have been leaders on teams that they've been on. That's John in the secondary. If you look at the linebacker position, Anthony Walker, and at the D-line position, Malik Jackson. I had him in Denver. But those guys have been great additions to our team, and they're doing a great job.
Joe, I'm not sure we've seen what we thought would be the first-team defense out there yet for various reasons.
Yeah.
Is that a concern because you've had a number of injuries and obviously guys getting rest, other variables?
It's not a concern. I think it's the nature of the NFL. Guys go through injuries. I would love to have all 11 out there, but the thing that's helped us is some of the young guys we wanted to evaluate, they got a lot of reps, whether it's in practice, whether it's a joint practice, in the games. So that's really helped us develop our depth. So hopefully we get them out there soon, but I know we're talented enough to play good defense.
You're looking for that silver lining, right? Getting some guys out there that wouldn't necessarily be out there?
Yeah, and you really want to see what guys work well together, whether it's the D-line or the secondary in terms of communication, how well they execute their techniques, what are their reactions in certain situations. That's where the experience and taking all those reps really help us in determining who the best players are.
We talked a lot about that. Out, what's the status of your big dime, I think you call it? Is that on hold?
Yeah, it's, we're going to have a dime package. We may have to get to it maybe a little bit later in terms of the whole package. But we are repping it in training camp. So we're keeping it alive, but once he gets back, there's some other things I'll be able to do.
Did you know anything about Malik McDowell before now, and what's he been like for you?
Malik's been great. He's a big man, you know what I mean? And he's been great for the room. I think the older guys have taken him in under their wing, just trying to help him. But he's very powerful. He's a sponge. He hasn't played, I don't know, it's been four years. So you saw the results, what he did in the last game. He was very productive, did some good things, and we look forward to seeing him continue to grow.
Joe, up front, after the guys that are obviously going to make the team, Myles Garrett, it seems like you have a lot of intriguing options and only so many spots. Can you kind of break down what you see from your big guys on the defensive line?
It does give us some options based on the type of team that we're playing. So we have the ability to get really fast, and put a bunch of maybe ends on the field. And we have a chance to get really big, if there's a team that's really trying to run the ball. So week to week, we'll make that decision, and we'll have different packages with our front four in terms of who we put out there.
It seems like McDowell's really surging for you guys here as camp has gone along. His versatility, at least on paper, seems like he's a guy that could give you a lot of different options in terms of matching up with teams.
Yeah, we definitely see it that way, but you also want to be careful. It's like when you have that new shiny toy, there's a bunch of things you want to do with it, but we have to make sure we don't put too much on him, so that way when he's on the field playing, he's playing fast. So again, we'll get in some different packages, but we want to make sure that we're always putting our players in position to have success early.
Right, I want to ask you about a couple of your rookies.
Yeah.
First of all, Greg, just what has he shown you? And he talked yesterday about how he just keeps getting more confident every week.
Yeah, it's definitely, he's getting more confident. We knew coming in that he was a very smart player, very competitive player. He had the length and speed we were looking for. And I think early on it was just, learning the system and getting comfortable with the system. But you can see with each day in practice, with each game, with the matchups, You know, it's a different color jersey that he is getting more confident. So we look forward to having him out there. He'll have a role for sure. We'll figure that out along the way. But I feel like he's going to be a really good player in this league for a long time.
Now with JOK, he had so many big plays against Jacksonville, and then I don't think he had a tackle against the Giants. What was the difference week 1 to week 2?
No, I think everything with JOK is just he's learning. You know, he sees things and he plays fast, but he has to do it the right way. So each week we put in, you know, different game plans for teams. We don't do a lot, but we try to change this a little bit each week. And sometimes, you know, I send him a little bit more and try to get him some one-on-ones. Sometimes I just want to see if he can cover. So just week to week, this is different things, trying to evaluate all our guys in terms of man, zone coverage, and pressure.
So right now, Mack Wilson is playing Will. At least yesterday it looked like it.
Yeah.
Is that the way it's going to be in Kansas City? Phillips style?
We're still going to figure that out. You know, the thing is you have options. So that's the best thing, that you have choices. So, but we'll put together game plans. You know, we've already started to look at them just a little bit. But we'll put together different game plans based on how we want to, you know, play coverage or pressure those guys.
How much better can your secondary be this year, Joe? You made a lot of adjustments back there.
Yeah, you know, last year obviously was tough just because of everything we were going through. You know, not practicing as much as we would like to. But I think with some of the new guys coming in, you mentioned Greg Newsome earlier, I just think that we've added some guys that have some talent, some cover skills, and it gives me confidence just when I can go back, you know, in certain situations and be aggressive. You know, maybe calling more pressure, putting them on the island, letting the, you know, the front get after the quarterback. So I like the talent, but they're going to have to do it, you know, on Sundays.
Joe, how much with the opener do you consider it? We just played this team, and how
Yeah.
much is new for both teams, and there's not really much curious.
Well, you always want to go back and look to see what things they did where they had success against you. So you always want to take care of those plays. But every team always changes year to year. There's some things that they add, some things that they take out. And I know Coach Reed, you know, Coach Banamy, you know, I coached with him for a couple of years in Minnesota. They'll have some twists forward, some little change-ups. But I think pretty much they're going to be the same and just, you know, try to create matchups. And we're going to give them a little bit something different too as well.
Based on practice, do you know what your defense's personality is going to be, or are you waiting to find out?
It's fast, hopefully fast and aggressive. You know what I mean? We want to be a fast, aggressive team. We want to be able to take away the ball. And we really want to dictate the way the game's played, you know. So I want to be aggressive with our game planning, aggressive in terms of getting after the quarterback with blitz packages, and not really worry about what they're doing. Make them worry about what we're doing. That's the hope.
When
I know
you
you didn't-
talked about, oh, go ahead, Marlon.
I know you didn't have Clowney for a while, but what excites you most about what he can do?
Rush the passer, you know. He probably doesn't get enough credit for how effective he is in the run game. He is very hard to block. So when it comes to game plans, I definitely feel like we need to move him some, you know, because he is a little bit lighter. But when it comes to rushing the passer with the guys we have up front, we can move him around. We can create one-on-one matchups with whoever we want to. So I'm happy to have that in my arsenal. So it'll be on display at some point.
When you talk about those matchups and like the different things you can do with your defensive line, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, how drastically different could this defense look week to week even for you? Could you make drastic changes game to game?
It can definitely look different. We don't want to get outside of what we do, but we'll be able to move the pieces around. Like I was saying, creating matchups. But there's different fronts that we're trying to get certain protections where we can create matchups or kind of do what we do without giving it away. So it'll look different slightly week to week, but it's all going to be within the concept of our defensive scheme.
Joe, should we not write off Phillips for this season? Just yet?
I don't know, you know, medically that just depends on how, you know, with the rehab and how he recovers. And I'm not sure of that, to be honest with you. That's just something really for the medical staff to
But it's
answer.
not completely off the table at this point.
I don't know that answer, just to be honest.
Going back to Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, you know, his versatility is something that everyone's been talking about. For you, what about that are you excited to be able to use, and what remains to be seen in that aspect of his game?
No, I'm very excited, but at the same time, this is what I said earlier, you just have to be careful how much you're doing with him because he is a rookie. So I have stuff all over the board but you really have to look at it at year 1 and year 2, because you don't want to do so much with somebody that they're not playing fast. So we'll be smart about that in terms of how we use them and in terms of not using them too much in our different defensive packages.
Does that year 2 then see a bigger jump, do you think?
Naturally, that's how it happens. That way you can expand your packages, put them at different positions. So we'll definitely grow into that, but I just want to be careful I don't do too much with them this year.
Joe, John
just a couple
Johnson
more.
said he went back and looked at those back-breaking plays in the Chiefs game last year. He wasn't even here.
Yeah.
I know you learn from every game, but was that a real valuable tool, that game, just in the way you maybe would scheme things or plan accordingly going forward?
Yeah, that's the first thing you look at. So you go back and look at a team you played against, like where did they have success? But you also look at what did we do right, what did we do wrong? And in a lot of games, it's not necessarily what they do, it's what you do or what you don't do. So there's some things looking back at that game that should be easy corrections for us. But, it's a different game. Last year's last year, different players, so we'll have to prepare for what we think they're going to do based on a breakdown, and also give them something a little different to prepare for.
Joe, we've talked to you a lot about Greedy Williams and Grant Delpit and the comebacks.
Yeah.
I know they're dealing with injuries right now, but what's your kind of outlook for both of those guys? And you think you can still get some help from them in week 1?
I definitely want them to be involved. Because when you have the ability to put more speed on the field and create the matchups you want to create, that's what those guys give us. Greedy can play, either corner position, but he'll allow us to create some different matchups inside, with other guys. With Grant, he can play all the safety positions. He can play the dime position. Coming out of LSU, he showed his, cover skills. So there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of different things I can do within the package. It's really just getting the guys back healthy.
How about the mindset
Last one,
of those
Coach Woods.
guys? Everything they've been through.
Yeah.
It's been a rough road.
Yeah.
You had to uplift them. How are they doing right now?
They're doing great. I just think we have a really close team, and it helps that, those guys, played at the same college. So there's a relationship there. But I think the mindset's been good. I think they're working hard just to get back as soon as they can, and they're taking part in, our walkthroughs. They're staying engaged in the meetings. So they've done a great job, and I think they'll be fine once they get back.